Welcome back. I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today we're going to look at a case study. We are once again in separate locations this week, so I'll talk first and then Fulyana will give us her views on the case study. What we're looking at today is a question that came through a little while ago about a team situation. We have a team situation, a management team, where we've had a long-term leader in the leadership role, the management role, and a long-term deputy. A couple of changes in the personnel in the team over the years, and we're probably talking not quite 10 years for this team to have been together. About 3 years ago, a new person came into the team, younger person came into the team, and the manager and the deputy decided that this was the person that was going to long-term take over the team. And so started to groom this person to take over that role. The deputy, I have to say, was never interested in taking over the management role. Culturally felt that it was not appropriate for her to lead a team of this kind, and was more than happy to remain in that deputy role and to fill in when needed to, but not ever to be in the main management role. So we got to a point at the end of this year, just probably about 4 months ago, where the current manager of the team leader, announced that it was time to be stepping down, and that whilst she was happy to remain in the team, she didn't want the leadership role any longer, didn't want to be the figurehead, all of those sorts of things. So stepped down voluntarily, deputy not interested, new person said, yes, I will take it on this, and had been groomed over that 3-year period to take on the role. Also at that time, new people came into the team that had not been involved in this development of the succession plan for the team, and not really involved in what this team does up to this point, but got the skills to add to the mix within the team. Now, the question that came to me was, how do I deal with the well-meaning but potentially destructive and inverted commas help being given by the former team leader, who has technical skills in what the team does, but has not, in all of the time that has been leading the team, shown real management skills. Whereas the new person, chosen, identified and groomed for this position by this retiring team leadership, has the management skills across a wide range of areas that are needed for this team, but doesn't have the developed years of experience and technical skills that the previous team leader had. So what do we do about the well-meaning but potentially destructive help? And I understand that in this instance it's things like the former team leader will go off and talk to client groups that use this team and organise things for things to happen. It's kind of the role that she should be doing now, but she's not, the communication is not there. And so, of course, my automatic reaction is, well, you've got to set up some communication protocols, you've got to set up some communication lines, you've got to have some understanding amongst the executive of this team, if you want to call it that. So these three roles, the team leader, the deputy, and now the retired team leader, so that everyone's clear about the roles and the responsibilities. They do have written job statements, I guess is the best way to describe them, but they're very broad brush, and it's all about, as required and if needed and can be delegated. So there's nothing that says it is or it isn't someone's job to do these things that are being done. And as the question came into us, it's still being seen as well-meaning, but it's potentially destructive because the team leader loses control of what is actually happening until they have their monthly meeting, and then the reports come in that say, we've done all these things and we've got all these things in place and I've talked to this person and I've done this, and it might not be at this point in time what the team leader was thinking would be the process for that particular activity. So my feeling is that it's about communication, which it so often is, because everyone's good at their jobs or knows what their technical part of their jobs are. So the team really needs to, I think, sit down, acknowledge that there's been a change in the structure. Everyone have the opportunity to talk about what they see as their role, and then some consensus about what the roles are, so that everyone has the same understanding of what the roles are. And that has to be led by the new team leader. It's got to be that team leader's vision that is imparted to the rest of the team. Otherwise, it's just treading water and feeling their way and doing things the way they used to because that's comfortable, even though it might not be the right way, but at least we know that we can do it that way and it'll get done. It's like fraying the edges of a piece of material. Eventually, it'll fray so much that there'll be nothing left in the piece of material. So really, what you've got to do is hem the edges, stitch it all up, and make sure that it's all structurally sound. So my advice in this instance was to get the team together, have the team leader, the new team leader, talk about the vision for the team, what this person saw as the roles for each of the team members. But what it also does is bring on board this new person who hasn't been involved in all of this pseudo-political manoeuvring that has happened prior to this person coming onto the team, brings them in. It's another new resource, it's another influx of new ideas and an enthusiasm and all of those good things that come with new people on a team. Look at everyone's understanding of what the roles are. Make sure that everyone is on the same path. Make sure that everyone understands what everyone else is doing and how that interlinking happens, and then have some communication protocols. Have some very specific ways that if people are doing these actions, they communicate with the rest of the team. And it's not just about turning up at the meeting and giving a report. And it's not bombarding people with email every day that's saying, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. You actually have to look at the practical processes that will work within your team that ensure that the communication is clear and concise and appropriate for the activity. So let's now hear what Fulyana's got to say about the potentially destructive help in this situation.
Thank you, Kim. I actually do agree that the heart of this issue here is communication, and it can be fixed with communication, as you said, with most other things as well. I do agree that setting the vision, talking to the team, and making clear what all the roles and responsibilities are and who does what and how they interact is very, very important. It's also very important that this is kept up. It's not just a one-off. What I thought I'll do is I'll look at actually the previous leader. What was her situation? And how does she feel? And what is she feeling right now? I'm imagining that, she made the decision to get someone else, mentor them, to take over the role. So I guess logically, ready to leave, ready to hand over the batons, but emotionally, that is always much harder. Change can happen, but change takes a lot longer in most of us than we expect. So I guess I want to have a look at how she feels. So she made the decision, she's comfortable, she was in control of her decision, and she got the right person of her choice in to succeed her. But I really feel that she wants to continue to contribute and feel that she is contributing. And that's why when you use the words in the case study about well-meaning but potentially destructive, I think she means well, she doesn't mean to be destructive. If we look at it that way, then I believe there is a communication that has to happen with her by the current leader. But that communication is not just about boundaries and about who does what and what it all means and what effect it would have if you don't do it right. I think it's more about taking the person into her confidence and saying, look, you've been fantastic, you've been helping me, I really need your help still. and then define her role around, I need your help in doing these things. And it will help me greatly in relation to team leadership and management if you also talk to me about things that you want to directly talk to others about. So I'm also continue to benefit from you mentoring as well at the same time. This way, the person that also, if I say the exiting leader, would feel still needed, wanted, appreciated and respected. The current leader will have more control and set boundaries without being very strict about it. And when that would be good in theory, so you start doing that, but things then will go off. So what you do is you continue to keep massaging it, and over time it becomes a habit. Another tool would be for that to show respect and still appreciation to the previous leader is to actually have that person, just like any staff member, recognized for contribution, public recognition. It might be something as simple as, I was talking to X and it was really great. She came up with this idea. So give her credit, even though you're the leader. A leader is recognized for their generosity in recognizing the strength around them and acknowledging that they are not doing this alone, as well as being decisive and visionary and all these other things. It's a case study of interest because we all been exposed to it. It happens. In this case, I think, again, the unusual element is the previous leader is still engaged in the business. And you see that a lot where a business has been bought out, where the person decided they want to sell their business, but they still want to have a part in it. I've seen that at CEO level. That's really, really hard because they say, oh no, they lead it. It's okay now. It's their business, but I'm only a board member. I'm only an executive or whatever it is. And then, but they can't. They feel terrible because they feel it's not done the way they used to do it. It's destroying the soul of it or whatever. And it's not necessarily true. It is just a new and a different way of doing it. So again, recognizing that change takes time. You can't let it fester because you need to keep boundaries and control in a sense of, so there's no confusion to yourself and the team, but respecting that the person still have a lot to contribute, and that you value that contribution and that you put that contribution in a different context. Anyway, I hope that helps, and I'll hand over back to you, Kim.
Thanks. I'm really pleased that you explored the idea of taking on this person as in a mentoring role. It's not something that I thought to suggest, and it's not something that would necessarily come to mind, I don't think, for people in that situation. So it's really great that we've had that discussion and we've been able to pass on that idea to our loyal listeners. With that in mind, I will remind you that we're very happy to have a look at case studies for you. We don't always get to them immediately that you send them, but we do look at them all, and we like to try and put the case studies into the context of the topics that we're talking about at the time. So that for example, where we're talking about team management and team dynamics and mentoring in that environment, then we'd take on the case studies that sort of fit into that role. So if you're looking back at previous podcasts, you'll see that the case studies we've done fit into the discussions we've had around about that same period of time. With that in mind, I will let you all get back to what you should be doing. I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.